I want you to open your Windows settings right now. Not after this video, right now in another window while you watch. Because what I am about to show you is not theoretical. These are settings that are active on your computer today, running in the background, collecting information, sending it to servers you do not control, and shaping your experience in ways you never consented to. I know because I spent years ignoring them. I was the person who clicked through setup screens without reading them, left every default in place, assumed that if something were genuinely wrong, someone would have told me about it. Nobody told me. I had to find out myself. And the day I actually went through every privacy setting on my Windows 11 machine, category by category, and looked at what had been enabled by default without my explicit knowledge, I felt something I was not expecting. Not panic, not outrage. Just a very quiet, very clear sense that I had been careless with something that mattered. These 7 settings are the ones I wish someone had shown me the moment I first booted Windows 11. They are the ones that most people have never touched. And they are running on your machine right now. The first one is the advertising ID. Open Settings, go to Privacy and Security, then General. The very first toggle on that page says something like, let apps show me personalized ads by using my advertising ID. Turn it off. Here is what that setting actually does. Windows assigns your device a unique identifier, a string of characters that follows you across every app you use on your machine. Every app that wants to show you targeted advertising can read that identifier and use it to build a profile of your behavior. Your news app, your weather app, your games, your productivity software, anything installed on your machine can access this ID and share it with advertising networks. The result is a system where your behavior inside apps you paid for is being harvested and sold to advertisers, and the mechanism enabling all of it is a unique identifier that Windows generates and maintains specifically for this purpose. Turning it off does not make you invisible, but it breaks the link between your device and the advertising profile being built around it. The second setting is on the same general page. It says something like, let websites show me locally relevant content by accessing my language list. Turn it off. This one sounds innocuous. Who cares if websites know what language you speak? But what this setting actually does is expose a fingerprinting vector. Your language list is one of dozens of small details that websites combine to create a unique profile of your browser, even without cookies. Your language preferences, your time zone, your screen resolution, your installed fonts, all of these things together create a fingerprint that identifies you across the internet even after you clear your history. Disabling this setting removes one piece of that fingerprint. The third setting is also on that page. Let Windows improve start and search results by tracking app launches. Off. This one is straightforward. Windows watches which apps you open, in what order, and how frequently, and uses that data to personalize your start menu and search results. Microsoft says it is to make your experience better. And in a narrow sense, it does make search results slightly more relevant. But it also means your operating system is maintaining a detailed log of your application usage and using it to influence what you see. That log exists. It is sent to Microsoft as part of broader telemetry. You are giving up behavioral data for a marginally smarter search bar. The trade is not worth it. The fourth setting requires going to a different part of the privacy settings. Go to Privacy and Security, then Diagnostics and Feedback. This page has several settings that deserve your attention, but the most important one is the diagnostic data level. On Windows 11, Home and Pro, Microsoft gives you 2 options: required diagnostic data and optional diagnostic data. If you are currently set to optional, change it to required immediately. Optional diagnostic data includes the websites you visit through Microsoft's browser, how you use specific apps and features, and content from documents and emails that is used to improve features like autocorrect and spelling suggestions. That last one is particularly alarming. Your documents and emails can be sampled and sent to Microsoft under optional diagnostic data. Required is still not nothing. It includes information about your device, its settings, capabilities, and performance. You cannot turn it off entirely on consumer versions of Windows, but required is significantly less invasive than optional. Also on this page, turn off tailored experiences. This is the setting that lets Microsoft use your diagnostic data to show you personalized tips, ads, and recommendations. It is the mechanism by which behavioral data collected under the guise of improving Windows gets repurposed for commercial targeting. Turn it off, and then click the button to delete existing diagnostic data that Microsoft has already collected. That button does not delete everything, particularly data that has already been processed and aggregated, but it clears the most recent local records. Do it anyway. The fifth setting is one that most people have never seen because it lives in a part of settings that almost nobody navigates to deliberately. Go to Privacy and Security, then Activity History. This feature tracks everything you do across all your devices if you are signed in with a Microsoft account. Every website you visit, every document you open, every app you use, all logged and synced so that Microsoft's timeline feature can show you a history of your activity across machines. Turn off storing activity history on this device. If you see an option to clear activity history, click it and clear everything. This data lives on Microsoft's servers. It is linked to your Microsoft account identity. It is a comprehensive record of your digital behavior that Microsoft can access, that is subject to legal process, and that can be used for purposes beyond what was originally disclosed. The sixth setting requires going to a completely different location, and this is deliberate. Microsoft did not put all the surveillance adjacent settings in one place. Go to Settings, Personalization, then Lock Screen, then Windows Spotlight. If your lock screen is set to Windows Spotlight, change it to Picture or Slideshow. Windows Spotlight cycles through images selected by Microsoft and displays them on your lock screen with small informational prompts. What those prompts actually are, underneath the scenic photography, is advertising. Travel destinations, Microsoft services, third-party products, all delivered through a lock screen feature that most people assume is just a nice photo service. You paid for this operating system. Your lock screen should not be a billboard. The seventh setting is the one that surprises people the most because it is not in the privacy section at all. Go to Settings, then System, then Notifications. Scroll down past your app notifications to the bottom of the page where you will find a toggle that says Offer suggestions on how I can set up my device. Turn it off. Below that, there's often a setting that says Get tips and suggestions when I use Windows. Also off. These two settings are the mechanism by which Microsoft pushes promotional content directly into your notification center. Suggestions to try Edge, reminders to set up OneDrive, prompts to subscribe to Microsoft 365, all delivered as system notifications, indistinguishable in their presentation from legitimate system alerts. You're being advertised to through your notification system on an operating system you paid for, and these toggles are the off switch. Now, I want to be direct about something because I think intellectual honesty matters here more than making a clean argument. Turning off these 7 settings will not make your Windows 11 machine private in any meaningful technical sense. Microsoft will still collect required diagnostic data. Windows will still communicate constantly with Microsoft's servers. The advertising ID toggle reduces targeting, but does not eliminate data collection. Your activity history may continue in forms not covered by that single setting. What these changes do is meaningfully reduce the amount of data being collected and the number of ways that data is being used to influence your experience and generate commercial value for Microsoft. They move you from the default configuration, which is maximally permissive in Microsoft's favor, to something closer to the minimum that Microsoft's consumer operating system allows. There is a floor below which you cannot go without moving to Windows Enterprise, switching to Linux, or accepting that your operating system is a partial surveillance system and deciding whether that trade-off is acceptable to you. These 7 settings are not that floor. They are just the obvious, overdue first step that most Windows users have never taken, because Microsoft designed the setup process to make inaction the path of least resistance. Every default that ships with Windows 11 is a deliberate choice. The advertising ID is on by default. Activity history is on by default. Optional diagnostic data is the suggested setting. Windows Spotlight is the default lock screen. None of this happened accidentally. These defaults exist because user data has commercial value, and because most users will never change them. The fact that options exist to turn these things off is not evidence that Microsoft is being transparent and fair. It is evidence that regulators in Europe and elsewhere have required the existence of those options. The settings exist because of legal pressure, not because Microsoft volunteered them. Knowing that changes how you should feel about the word optional in optional diagnostic data. It was not optional until someone made them make it optional. Your job now is to actually use the options that exist. Open Settings, go to Privacy and Security. Start at the top of the left sidebar and work your way down every single category. Location, camera, microphone, voice activation, notifications, account info, contacts, calendar, phone calls, call history, email, tasks, messaging, radios, other devices, background apps, app diagnostics, automatic file downloads, documents, pictures, videos, file system. Every category has a list of apps with access. Most of those apps do not need the access they have. Revoke anything that does not have an obvious reason to be there. This is your machine. You paid for it. It should behave according to your preferences, not Microsoft's revenue targets. These 7 settings are where you start. Today, right now, before you close this window and forget about it. Because the longer these run at their defaults, the longer someone else is making decisions about your data on your behalf. And based on everything Microsoft has shown us about their priorities in recent years, those decisions are not being made in your interest.